Alrighty. It is Thursday night. It is 8:05. I've finished work. I've been parked in. But it's time for chests, a little bit of shoulders, and then triceps. And I say a little bit of shoulders because it's just side lateral raises, which I'll do one or two exercises on. I had a pretty cruisy day today. Started work really late at 12, which was nice. Like I said in yesterday's video, I hadn't slept for 2 days, so I slept like 10 hours last night, like just dead unconscious. Like I got home after the session at the end of yesterday's video, and I like showered, all that shit, got my food. I was like, oh, I actually don't feel too tired anymore. I've gone like full circle. Maybe I just won't need to sleep again. And so I just moved that out of the way. And then I sat down with my food on the couch, and I started eating, and I like blacked the fuck out. I was like, I'd eat some food, I was watching a YouTube video, there'll be like a loud noise in the video, I'd wake up, eat some more food, fall back asleep while watching the video, hear a loud noise, wake up, finish the food, watch some more of the video, wake up, and then I was like, fuck, I just gotta go to bed. Went to bed, I think it was like 1:45 in the morning, which was nice. It was a good time to go to bed. And then like the second I lay down in bed, I clocked the fuck out. I literally just blacked out, and I woke up to my dog barking at like 10 a.m, which was nice. And then, you know, took my time having breakfast and shit, getting ready for work, went to work. Had a pretty manageable day today. Time's gone by really quickly, which has been nice. Like, after staying up for 2 days, time goes by so slow. You're just like, oh, fuck. It's got to have been like an hour of doing whatever I was just doing, and it's been like 2 minutes. But when I'm well rested, time goes by so quick. So, nice and easy. I got through my meals today. I finished work early as well. I finished at 8 instead of 8:45/9. So I'm going to have my pre-workout meal, which is meal number 5, out at the gym, because they got a microwave out there for everyone to use. I'll eat that, and then we'll start the session. So I'm a little bit behind on my meals, because again, I got wrapped up in what I was doing, and time went by so quick. I was meant to eat at 6. And then again at like 8 to 8:30 for the 5th meal. But I ended up eating at 7 and only finishing at like 7:15. So I'm only really going to have an hour and a bit between the meals. But I would rather just have the 5th meal and then go straight into training, as opposed to training just after the 4th meal and having 2 meals afterwards. Because I'm aware that if I don't have that 5th meal like right before I work out, even though it's only been an hour and a half since I last ate, I'll just have a really slow, easy workout, and then I'll have to get 2 meals in after my workout right before bed, which I won't want to do. It's more manageable to force the food down now, even if I'm not that hungry still. I don't have an energy drink to drink either, because I'm all out of them at home, but there's a convenience store opposite the gym, so I'll buy a Red Bull there, and I'll have that with my meal. Till then, I'll just have water, keep myself hydrated. Hydration has been the biggest thing for me with working out recently, especially post-show. I can promise you, if you're drinking like less than 4 liters of water a day, your body doesn't know what it's like to be hydrated. You don't know what it feels like to feel good. Because training dehydrated fucking sucks. If you have a workout where your meals have been perfect, your sleep's been perfect, your mental's there, everything like clocked in, and you should be able to like smash everything, but you can't, it's because who the fuck is honking? It's because you're dehydrated. Like, if I don't have 6 liters of water in me in a day, I'm already gonna feel like shit. 8 to 10 is kind of like where I like to lie, and maybe 10 to 12 if I've sweat a shit ton and done a lot of exercise. So water is key. Anyone that says 8 to 12 for me is too much. Obviously, if you weigh 50 kilos and you're 5'4", you shouldn't be having 12 liters of water a day. You're gonna flush all the vitamins and minerals out of your body, and you're gonna fuck yourself up. But if you weigh like a pretty good amount, and especially if you're eating a lot as well, water helps a lot with digestion. I know people always say shit like, oh, if I'm cutting, I'll drink a fuck ton of water because it'll help keep me full. Yeah, sure, it'll help keep you full if you're sculling like liters every hour. But if you're just sipping on it like in between your meals and you're getting plenty in that way naturally, like I'm not forcing myself to have 8 to 12 liters of water a day. That's just me being like, oh, I'm thirsty. Like my mouth's already dry again from talking. I want more water. Shit like chewing gum kind of fucks with you wanting water. I think chewing gum is the worst thing you can ever do while you're bulking, because you're you should never feel hungry while you're bulking, whether it be a lean bulk or anything else. So the gum is going to kill your hunger cues unless your stomach is completely empty, and it should never be getting that bad in the first place. Number 2, it's going to kill any, like, cravings. And cravings are something you leverage when you're bulking. Bulking isn't like, oh, I want something sweet and I've got a craving, I'm going to go get a fucking donut. It might be, but it really shouldn't be. Not consistently, at least. Once off is fine. Bulking is, oh, I'm kind of craving bad food. That means I can eat, and then you eat a whole meal. That's how you get those calories in. Coping with the donut consistently is just a bit lazy. It's the equivalent of having, like, protein shakes instead of meat. It's not that you can't eat the meat. It's that you can't be fucked to eat the meat. Which I get. Don't get me wrong. I know it's hard to get in, like, copious amounts of, you know, protein. It's difficult, and protein takes a little bit longer to digest than, you know, things like rice and sweet potato or whatever you eat while you're bulking. But, the harsh reality is if you want your body to adapt to put on muscle, it's got to adapt to that quantity of food, because that's the food that needs to fuel building that muscle. So make sure you're getting as much whole food in as possible, especially if you're just coming out of a cut like I am now. So this is the spot I'm in right now. So I'm speaking from not even just personal experience in my own education, but just literally what I'm doing right now. I'm preaching what I practice. If you're just coming out of a cut, that is the prime opportunity to eat as much whole food as possible, because you want to eat as much whole food as possible. Anyone that's ever been in a really serious deficit and is, like, absolutely starved for calories understands that all you think about 24/7 is whole foods. So coming from that place and putting yourself slowly back into a maintenance, then a surplus, and, you know, reverse dieting out of your cut, prep, comp, whatever it may be, is when you're going to get your body to make those metabolic adaptations to eat more food in your off season. You know, I would never, you know, grab someone who's 40 kilos and scrawny and short and be like, all right, you're eating 5,000 calories of lean whole food a day with all clean calories. How are you going to get it down? I don't know. Fucking good luck. Just eat more. No, that's not the way that works. You got to ease into it the same way, you know, if it's your first week in the gym, you don't just jump under a 100 kilo bench press and be like, I'm going to rep this and just fucking do it. If only it was that easy. What you got to do is you got to ease into the food the same way. And when I say ease in, I mean properly ease in. Not just be a pussy and be like, oh, I'll have 2,000 calories and I'll have 2,100 and then I'll have 2,150 and then 2,200. You can have calories a bit more aggressively than that. It's a lot easier to get serious calories in. Like, when I plan meals, I often find myself having to reduce quantities to such tiny amounts that I'm like, fuck, are they going to be able to live on this? And that's someone eating 4,000 calories of clean food. People do not, like, somehow completely miscount calories to the stage where it's like, oh god, I'm like, I can't eat all this, or oh man, this is no food at all, and I'm getting in still so many calories. Like, I don't understand it. I watched one of those full day of eatings from, like, a IFBB pro bodybuilder, and I'm like, yeah, that's a less food than I thought they'd be having as an IFBB pro. Like, that's a very manageable amount of food. They must be hungry, you know. The only time I'm a little bit bewildered is when I watch a strongman diet, but those fuckers are built entirely differently. So, you know, getting in a lot of food is not hard. You're just not conditioned for that level of food. I see 100 grams of rice in a diet and I'm like, fuck me. That's like a mouthful of rice. That's 25 grams of carb. You know, roughly divide the amount of rice by 4 cooked and you get that much in carb. Same with, like, sweet potato. I see 200 grams of sweet potato and I'm like, fuck. That's like 2 big chunks of sweet potato. That's not a lot. I don't even care if I'm eating it 6 times a day. There's not a lot of food. I see 200 grams of rice, 250 grams of rice, and I'm like, okay, that's pretty reasonable. That's a reasonable amount of rice. That's, yeah, then now you're talking maybe like, I don't know, 70 grams carb, 80 maybe. I don't know, depends on the rice. Different brands of rice have different quantity of carb. You can get low carb rice. You can get high carb rice. I see 350 grams of rice, and I'm like, okay, that is a meal. I am growing from this quantity of rice. That's what I'm happy with, you know. And the whole thing with metabolism as well is having your body get the most out of the food. They're gonna get, you know, we all know this is why it's important to bulk and cut. It's important to do both. You can't bulk endlessly. Your body just starts getting to the stage where it's not going to put on any more lean tissue, and you need to give it that shock of being lean to make it want to adapt really aggressively. That's the whole point of the reverse diet. You know, you can put on a substantial amount of lean tissue in a 10 to 12 week reverse diet. Sure, it's going to suck. You don't have an end date. You don't have a comp or something you're super motivated for. God knows I can't fucking reverse diet. I just ate like a dickhead after my show. But as a result, and this is a little update on my own diet, I'm now going back into another mini cut because I just got really fat in like 5-6 weeks time. Not necessarily wrong, but if my goal is to get as big as possible, that's not the go. You know, you'll notice with a lot of the really bigger, more experienced guys, even in the bulk, they're still quite lean. That's for one of two reasons. They're bigger, so there's a more dense muscle tissue spreading out the fat more easily. It's more just like dispersed. Anyone with like a fat gut or like saggy skin kind of fat just doesn't have any muscle dispersed evenly, so it just hangs off the bone. That's what gives that loose, flabby look. You know, me at 30% body fat is very different to a scrawny kid at 30% body fat, which is very different to Ronnie Coleman at 30% body fat. You know, which is why it's important to build muscle. And you know, the whole thing with body fat percentages is it's not just relative to the amount of fat you carry, it's relative to the amount of muscle you have, obviously. You know, you can lower your body fat percentage by... you can lower your body fat percentage just by putting on muscle and not losing any fat. Or you can lower your body fat percentage by putting on muscle and fat, but you put on more muscle than fat. You know, there's a whole bunch of different ways to do it. I hope this way is not blocked off. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different ways to do it. It's just a matter of what's best for you, what aligns the most realistically with your goals, what's going to be manageable for you, what your own preference. Some people prefer to just get super fat. Like, I'm sure you've all seen the famous photos of like Lee Priest in his off-season, where he's just like huge gut, puffed out face, crazy water retention. Sure, part of that might have been the compounds he was taking, or how he reacted with certain compounds. But you know, it's just everyone's preference. People like to do things differently. There's the fighter Paddy. He likes to get fat in his off season. Just be fat and happy in the off season. You know, enjoy your food. And everyone will tell you something different. And I think best thing to do, as always, is try everything, figure out what works best for you, and figure out what you enjoy. But we're at the gym now. I'm not going to record me eating or anything. I'm going to go chat to some friends while I eat, watch them train, fuck around a little bit. I'll have my energy drink, and then I'll check back in once we start the workout. We're going to go for chest, shoulders, tricep, and I'm going to try and bench pretty heavy again. We'll see if I still have the effects of no sleep from the other day, if I'm fully recovered and feeling good. But fuck it. Whatever I hit, I hit. Not too fussed about it. So I'll see you guys over in the gym. Alrighty, that's all locked into place. Should be good to go. So that was a good session overall. I got 130 for 6, or I think that's like 290 pounds or so. 130 kilos and slash 290 pounds for 6 reps, which was one more rep than last week, and it moved a fair bit better for said rep as well. So good on bench. My shoulder kind of felt shitty afterwards. I need to review the footage. I'm not sure how good or bad my form was on the set, but we'll see. It felt good. It felt like it moved well. And then I did the 2 force reps as well. So 130 for 6, and then 2 more force reps of 130. And then I went for the 100 kilo AMRAP. I think I got 13 or 14 on that. Maybe it was 12. It was at least 12. The goal was 15, but I was just so pumped, and my CNS was so like burnt to the ground that I just felt like absolutely dead. Anyway, it's 11:45 now. I've got to curry at home, try and get some food into me, and then get straight to bed because I got work first thing tomorrow morning at the normal start time. So that's the plan for tonight. 5 eggs and 2 pieces of fruit before bed, plus my GABA and some 0-calorie soft drink. But that was a pretty good chest day. The machines felt alright. I was kind of really concerned with my shoulder. I did a lot of I guess you could call them like half reps, reduced range of motion, partials, especially on the incline movements you would have seen. I've just found that's engaging my upper chest a lot more. Keeping that constant tension there instead of resting and letting my shoulders take over. So every time I move kind of below my chin or touch the bar of my chest or the machine past, my jaw or chin or whatever you want to call it, my shoulders massively take over. I've got very overdeveloped front delts and very strong front delts, and a very small and weak upper chest. So, like I've said a million times, your overdeveloped, strong, dominant muscles are always going to want to take over whenever they can. For, you got a strong, back and shoulders, you're going to roll your shoulders and scapula while you're doing bicep curls if you've got small biceps. If you've got huge biceps, you might pull predominantly with your arms when you're doing a barbell row, And I find the best way to combat that is what at face value looks like really shitty form or ego lifting, but is in reality just you hyper focusing on the one muscle. It's the whole concept of like this is the issue with the mentality of like 5 more and brute forcing it and just fucking slamming weights around. Let's say you're gonna bench press 100 kilos, right? You're gonna do it for 10 reps, but on rep 7 you're kind of stop feeling your chest a little bit, and then on rep 8 it's all your shoulders and triceps, and then rep 9 and 10 is all tricep. Was there really any point in doing reps 8, 9, and 10 when your chest stopped working after rep 7, when you're trying to focus on and grow your chest? Not really. Realistically, if your chest isn't getting any more stimulus after that 100 kilos for 7 reps, you'd be better off, if you want to stay in that kind of rough rep range, dropping the weight for the next set, and going for similar rep range, and that way you're keeping your chest activated the whole way through, going for just less reps, or continuing to do reps in that rep range and forcing out partials, whereby you're just engaging your chest during those partials. And that's the whole point of partials, like as a whole. The point of the partials is to keep focusing on just the muscle you're trying to target without using the other muscles and letting the other muscles take over. I think that's what a lot of people seem to misunderstand. People kind of just see partials like, oh, I'm just doing cheat reps, or I'm just furthering my pump or whatever. But the whole idea of the partials is to squeeze out literally just as much extra as you can from the desired muscle. Again, there's no point in doing partials on, bicep curls if you're just doing like really bad cheat reps. There's no point in doing partials on overhead press if it's just all your triceps doing the partial work. These are it's like common sense, but people don't seem to come to the realization until they're told it. So I'm telling you it now. You've got that information right there. Don't do the reps if you're not working the muscle you're trying to work. It's just common sense. A lot of working out and a lot of the hypertrophy kind of principles are common sense. People just don't pay attention to that, Let's talk about the Mike Mensa hit rule, whereby you get the most from the least. Less is more. If I can adequately fatigue a muscle with 2 to 4 sets, and I'm just doing diminishing returns by doing anything more, why the fuck would I do anything more if I'm just running my nervous system to the ground, overly exhausting myself, so that when I go to next train, I already fried down because my nervous system is all fucked up and I can't move as much weight on the subsequent body parts. That ties in with the principle of taking a rest day before and after a leg day. Why the fuck would I deadlift really heavy and then try and squat really heavy the next day? My CNS is not recovered and it's absolutely fucked. Why would I squat really heavy and then bench really heavy the next day if my chest is my weak point and my quads are my strong point? I'm going to fry the fuck out of my CNS, and then I'm going to try and work my weak body part. There's no point, because you're unnecessarily diminishing the load you can load on that weak muscle. There's a point in minimizing the load or stress on a muscle. I'm doing an intensity modifier, I'm going for a drop set, I'm focusing on volume, I'm working around an injury, whatever it may be. There's no point in diminishing the load on a muscle for no reason. which would be, you know, I'm exhausting myself unnecessarily. My friends just pulled up next to me.
Sir, you can't park here, sir.
Bro,
Park there.
bro, my buddy just cut me off. This guy just pulled up next to me, got me to pause in the middle of traffic, rolled down my window, and he sped off in front of me. Anyway, there's no point in doing unnecessary shit like that. Same with small muscle groups. Rear delts. Why the fuck would I train rear delts for an hour straight and do only rear delts? Do you know how small fucking rear delts are? When I could train my back or my legs for an hour straight. Those are big muscles. They need a lot of volume. No, more volume does not mean more size. If more volume meant more size, you could look like Ronnie Coleman by training 15 hours a day, every single day, with no rest days, and by pumping gear. But there's small intricacies, you know, that play a part in hypertrophy. Again, I said this in one of the earlier videos. Muscles are a response to a need caused by a stress. It's just your body adapting to a stress. That stress is a very heavy load, bad on the muscle, and a increase in that load every week, whether it be through repetitions, weight, or volume. And then we take a break so our body can have a rest and it recovers, and then we repeat. When you look at it that simply, and you break it down that simply, same with food, like I've said, balanced meals, 3 to 5 times a day based on who you are and your goals. You make crazy gains just by focusing on the basics. So have you ever met like a really very developed person who's very strong, and you'll often be like, man, what's the secret? And he's like, I don't know, I eat a shit ton and I train really hard. And you're like, fuck this guy, he's hiding some secret from me. He's taking some supplement or some sort of gear, or, you know, he's doing some shit I don't know about and he's keeping it a secret. He's literally not, because he's just stuck to the basics without realizing it, because again, it's common sense. And he's just followed common sense, and as a result, he's grown. That you guys are out here focusing on shit that's way too complicated and unnecessary for you. You know, maybe Chris Bumstead's doing some shit, but he's doing that because he's Mr. Olympia. He doesn't need to worry about putting on that much more size. He's at his weight cap. He's worried about making shit look as pretty as possible, so he's doing all this really fancy, intricate shit. Put on the size, then worry about the intricacies. Focus on the basics first. Eat your goddamn food. Get your rest and get your sleep. Take your rest days. Focus on your form and execution. Train really hard. Do it consistently long term. Don't do stupid shit to fuck with your body. And you'll grow. You'll grow a stupid amount. It's really, and I know other coaches would feel the same way, it's really exciting when you get someone who's never kind of looked after their body properly, and you put them on a really good plan, nutritionally, training, schedule-wise for their day-to-day life, break those bad habits, get them moving really consistently, they fucking explode. It gives you really crazy transformations, not only in terms of, like, you know, advertising your own business, but just in terms of, like, this person's life is 180'd in the span of a couple of weeks. Because, again, you know, they didn't know how good it felt to feel good, because they didn't know what good felt like. They thought good was, like, just how they feel. They thought it was normal. They were just so used to feeling shit that feeling shit became the normal. You know? Here's the thing. If you feel like you're behind in terms of your physique, your development, your size, your strength, whatever it may be, take a look at your plan, and you're probably going to be like, you know, fuck, I'm overthinking this a little bit. Go to the basics, push-pull legs, upper, lower, bro split, whatever you want to do. Don't listen to what anyone says online. Relax, take a breath. Focus on going balls to the wall in every session. Take your rest days, get recovery work done, get massages, kneeling, cupping, scraping, assisted stretching, deep tissue, hot rock, sauna, spa, whatever you want to do. Eat a fuck ton of food, a well-balanced, healthy food, quality food, because what you put in is what you get out. Do it consistently for 12 to 16 weeks, just doing all of the basics dead on perfectly. See what happens. Just see what happens. Because I promise you, it will be fucking phenomenal. And you'll be like, holy shit, why does no one do this? It's just straight common sense. Why has no one been doing this? And that's the issue. No one's fucking doing this. And you guys are listening to all these guys who are crazy developed. And the issue for them is they know too much. They've forgotten the basics, because they're well beyond having to focus on the basics. Because now what's getting drilled into them is, hey man, here's the elite level shit. Here's the really intricate shit you need to worry about. And Because that's all they hear 24/7, and that's all they're worried about learning about, because that's the level they're at. They need to learn the advanced shit because that's where they're at if they want to progress. You guys need to learn the basics if you want to progress. You're not going to progress doing the advanced shit. It's like a bell curve. Point of diminishing returns, but your bell curve is consistently moving along the entire graph, along the x-axis through time. In terms of, like, you know, your knowledge and what you apply. You know, you do too little of the basics, and it's going to go to shit. You do the basics and some intermediate stuff perfectly, consistently, and same results. You do the advanced shit, and it goes to shit. You know? Focus on what you know. When you feel like you can't get any further with what you're doing, learn something new. Not crazy new, just a little bit more. You know, maybe I'm eating well-balanced meals, but I feel like I'm missing something with my nutrition. I've been doing it for 26 weeks, half a year. I'm just missing one thing, and I feel like my workouts could be a little bit better. So let's do a little bit of research. What food's a good pre-workout? Pink salt, better for blood flow. You know, high carbs, low fats, easy to digest, fast acting. You know, insulin levels, spiking insulin pre and post-workout. How does that affect, you know, me and my performance? Do I prefer to spike pre or post or both or neither? What meats do I like pre-workout? Do I want something fattier? Do I want something less fatty, a little bit leaner? What digests well for me? What makes me bloat? Or maybe I'll have some fruit or some pineapple for some natural sugars. Really good for circulation, blood flow, better pump. Also really good for your energy levels, whereby sustained energy levels, you're not going to crash 1 or 2 exercises in. That's the issue with bad food pre-workout. You know, you have some jelly beans, you're going to go nuts for your first 15 minutes, and the second your body is kind of out of that insulin spike, you're going to crash and perform really shittily for the rest of your workout. Your motivation is going to drop. You're going to get distracted by your phone. Everything's going to go to shit. So that's why we need to focus on just one little step further, get the most from that, and another little step further. Again, my absolute thing is getting the most from the least. I would never make someone who is 500 pounds or morbidly obese go on like a full bodybuilder prep, because that full shift in lifestyle is going to be accomplishable by 1 in 1,000. And just because you are that 1 in 1,000 does not mean you should still do it. That's the other thing. People are like, well, it might be the wrong way, but it works really well for me. Okay, but then if it works really well for you and it's the wrong way, think about how well the right way will work for you. That's the other thing people forget. Just because it was wrong and it worked doesn't mean it's actually just right and you're some genetic phenom. It means you're a freak. Let's make the most of that potential, and let's do everything right, and then see how dialed in we can get you. You ever met someone who's jacked and strong and they like barely work out, they eat like shit? Imagine how much of a freak they could have been. But it's just wasted potential, and it's what a lot of people are doing. Both in the sense of being a genetic freak and also in the sense of doing too much too soon. It's just unnecessary. Comes back to like the whole point of running gear within your first couple of months of lifting. What the fuck? You don't even know if you like working out. You don't even know if you're about the lifestyle, if you enjoy it. Then you've just fucking taken a very big risk for fast results. Why? Fix everything else first and then go for it. You know, do your research. Again, learn a little bit more and more. Start with basic stuff. Work your way up. That's all any of this is. And that's the other thing. You know, if you add a small thing onto your training, don't add a small thing onto your nutrition. Look at how you respond to and, you know, get data on each individual factor. If you change 5 things at once, you're not going to know which thing was shit and which thing was good. Maybe one was shit, one was good, and they cancel out. Maybe both were good, but you don't know if it was one or the other. Maybe both were shit, and you're going to not know. Maybe one was good and one was bad, but the bad one was really bad. Now you think the good one's bad as well, you know? One small thing at a time. Don't overthink it. Don't get overwhelmed. Health and fitness is very easy. Everyone online is lying to you, and they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. It's very simple. It's common sense. Just relax. Relax and enjoy your process. I'm home now. It's 12 a.m. I'm going to go eat my simple, nice meal and go have a nice night's sleep. If you did enjoy the video, like and subscribe. We're concerningly close to 500 subscribers, which is fucking awesome. Go check out my Instagram and TikTok, both linked below. If you'd like to work with me as a coach, if you like my ideologies or some of the stuff I preach, send me a DM on Instagram or click the link down below. I am shifting coaching platforms at the moment, and when I am on a new platform, I'll be taking another intake of clients. So if you would like to be one of those clients, reach out to me, again, through my website in the link below or through my Instagram DMs. If you want to look at my supplement stack, I've got the other video up on that on my channel. Use code MATT on the Emerald Labs link below, save 15%. It's Emerald Labs' birthday at the moment, so they're giving away $500 worth of vouchers to some of the people to buy supplements in the next couple of weeks, in the next month or whatever it is. And they're putting in little gift goodie bags on all the orders, so if you want some free stuff, now's the time to do it. So code MATT, 15%, Emerald Labs, get free shit. Other than that, again, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next day of the bulk.